Coming up this week, we're on hand for the annual One Young World Summit. From your nation's capital, this is Outburst. Hello and welcome to Outburst. I'm Glenn McGuinness. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we are coming to you from the One Young World Summit held here in Ottawa for 2016. This summit brings together some of the world's best and brightest young minds to come up with solutions and have discussions on some of the world's pressing problems. But to begin, we caught up with Ella Robertson, Managing Director of One Young World International, to find out what this conference is all about. And Ella Robertson joins me now. Hello.
Hello, lovely to be here.
Tell me about the summit. What's it all about?
So One Young World is the largest gathering of young people other than the Olympic Games. We've got young people from 196 countries, and also we've got refugees here representing the refugee nation. We're here to discuss real solutions to the problems that we're all facing around the world. So terrorism and extremism, climate change, gender equality, the things that we're all worried about. We've brought the whole world under one roof to discuss here in Ottawa.
And you've also have some influential figures coming here to Ottawa to talk about it. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So we've had Kofi Annan on stage this morning. We've got Emma Watson coming up this afternoon. The Prime Minister of Canada very generously granted us his presence last night and discussed his youth council, which he launched at One Young World last night, because he said he wasn't there as Prime Minister, he was there as your youth minister. So they're all here to inspire young people to be the change they want to see in the world.
As I walk around the hallways, I see many kids, many young people from many different nationalities. Now, can you outline exactly how many countries are participating in this summit?
So it's 196 nations. We've even got someone from the Vatican and someone who doesn't live anymore, has defected from North Korea. And we've also got people coming in from Tuvalu, the Marshall Islands, Latin America, Africa. And it's amazing. It's the most international gathering that's ever been hosted in Ottawa.
When did the whole thing start?
So our first summit was in 2010 in London, and we've been having a summit every year since then. So we've gone to Asia, we've gone to Africa, and next year we will be in Latin America in Bogota for the first time.
Now, just talk to me about what the kids here, what they get out of something like this, and maybe the kind of things they learn from networking with people from other nations that are totally different cultures.
So the message of One Young World is lead now. You don't need to wait till you're older. You don't need to wait till you've got a fancy job title. You can be a leader right now in your 20s. And I think what the delegates really take on board is the inspiration and the motivation and the connections to really go on and be leaders back in their communities, in their companies, in their countries. So we've got some amazing delegates here who are responsible for just incredible things. The young man who carried the refugee flag in our flag ceremony last night fled Eritrea on foot through the Sinai Desert, which is filled with armed people looking to shoot people fleeing from Eritrea, and now represents the Eritrean diaspora in San Francisco and at the UN. That's an amazing story. We've got a young woman here who was jailed for driving into Saudi Arabia, which is not actually illegal to drive into Saudi Arabia as a woman, but she was jailed for nearly 3 months, and she's now one of the most powerful Arab women speaking out for gender equality in the Middle East. So this is really about going on and being the change, and when you see things that are wrong in the world, doing something about them.
So an event like this can, start out at one point, snowball and get bigger and bigger every year. Is that the case with One Young World?
Absolutely. We're getting bigger every year, and our impact's getting bigger every year. So we've had over 11 million people directly impacted by the work of One Young World ambassadors since we founded in 2010.
Where would you like to see it go?
Well, it'd be nice to come back to Canada now. We're having such a great time, but we are in Colombia next year, and we're in the International City of Peace and Justice, The Hague, the year after that. And cities are getting in contact from all around the world because they want to bid to host One Young World, so I'm excited to see where it goes.
Ella Robertson, Managing Director, One Young World International, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for your time.
So in this show, we'll be tackling some of the issues discussed here at the One Young World Summit, and we begin with this one. What are the biggest challenges facing young people today?
Well, it depends on what country you're talking about, but I think in general, the biggest challenge right now is development, finding a good job and honing skill set. And I think being from Vietnam, working in the U.S., I've seen it across the board, like young people getting out of school, not sure what they want to do, and they really need inspiration and mentorship. So that's from my perspective. And of course, there are other things that happen in other less developed countries.
It seems to be a problem that you'll find wherever you go.
Yes, I would say so. Young people finding good jobs and getting developed.
And I'll ask you the same question. So what are some of the biggest challenges facing young people today?
Like Jade said, when people get out of school, they're not sure what to do, and I also find the access to education. There's so many young people who have great ideas and so much potential, but they don't have the access or the tools to use that potential to go forward, to have that career or that education that they want.
In my opinion, the most challenges that are facing young people around in these times is the fact that through social media, extremists and people who are promoting hatred have been able to reach out to a lot of people who they would not have been able to reach them 20, 30 years ago. And people, when you're 18, 20 years old, you're always looking to identify yourself and to connect to yourself to some identity. And it's becoming easier for them to actually attract people and brainwash them towards doing a lot of extremist and hated stuff that's wrong by all means. And everyone in the whole world, whether Christian or Muslim or Jewish, will agree that it's a wrong thing.
I think the biggest challenges would be people not taking a risk on them. So we have ideas, we want to make changes around us in our community and internationally, but I feel it's the case where people just don't feel that they want to take a risk and give us the funding or give us the platforms to talk and express how we feel. In cases where there's organisations where they're trying to support young people and do things for young people, the panels or the decision makers are usually not young people, which I feel is another issue. So it's the case of letting their voice be heard and having them make decisions.
Okay, and yourself?
Yeah, I'm Gilda and I'm from Germany, and I do think it's really important to have a great exchange and a fair exchange, and just to improve and have some great innovative ways to improve society and having a good and fair impact on society, yeah.
I'd say that the biggest issue for young people today is extremism. Like, we just get out from a session about extremism, and I'm studying Middle East. So this is kind of my field. I think this is the biggest threat today, and we have experienced many solutions in this room. We could have education, we could have integration. We have many solutions like this. We just need some people just like us, just as young leaders, to gather and to do things to beat extremism.
I think the thing that's really plaguing young youth today is lack of jobs and lack of opportunity. Being a youth, I know that I've had a bad experience going and getting jobs, so that I think is the central thing that's plaguing youth today.
There are many challenges that young people are facing today, and one of them is youth unemployment. That's probably the biggest one nowadays in the world. But I do believe that every challenge has a solution, and if we unite together and try to find different ways of dealing with the problems, we will be able to achieve results.
The challenges affecting the young people in the worldwide is unemployment. Like back in my country, there are a lot of people, a lot of youth, after their education, they have nowhere to go to apply for jobs. But the point is, though we're facing unemployment as a challenge facing the youth of today should think out of the box, because at the marketplace, we used before to expect a job from the government, but the government at the time being is already overpopulated. So it's the due time we start creating our own jobs. No matter how small it can be, just start small and grow bigger with time.
There are big challenges for youth in the world is the opportunity. I mean, it's like there is not a lot of opportunities for youth to learn more, to find more. That the world is big. I mean, the world is big, and a lot of people outside there need you as a youth. You have to do something. I mean, you're not only just wait and ask when I will do something. Start stacking your step, and you're not moving forward. So the big challenges for young people is to know first who you are and ask for yourself, what can you do for your country? and then what can you do as an offer that you can offer to another people as God offered to you.
The main crisis that we're facing, and especially for young people, it's the refugees crisis. People have left their countries without nothing, and they just seek serenity, they seek safety, they seek security, where they cannot find it anywhere else. So the main crisis is the refugees crisis, the education crisis. People who left their schools at a young age. A lot of people, they didn't even go to school. So that's something that we need to fight for. We need to fight for education. We need to fight for equality. We need to fight for the basic rights that have been deprived for the young people.
Which geographic feature is Canada more abundant in than any other nation in the world? Rivers, lakes, or mountains?
I would say lakes.
Rivers. Mountains.
Mountains.
Lakes.
Mountains.
I'll say lake.
I would say lakes.
I'll say rivers.
The answer, lakes.
Wonderful!
Very good.
Yes.
Canada has more lake area than any other country in the world, with estimates close to 31,752 lakes, according to the Atlas of Canada. Indigenous issues has always been a sore spot here in Canada, especially with poverty. But there are nearly 400 million Indigenous peoples around the world, many facing the same problems as we face here at home. So we took this question to delegates. What is the best way to achieve fairness in Indigenous communities around the globe?
Just to offer a fair social mobility and to improve social mobility, because education, during education you can do that, and you can help people, for instance, from poor or bad circumstances to improve and just get some better education and just have a good job and help through this job or education to improve society and have a good impact. Yeah.
Okay, anything to
add? I would mainly say it's the resources that's available to them with regards to allowing them to use laptops that children in higher privileged areas are using, computers, equipment, high-tech equipment, giving them simple opportunities to use the same stuff and not limiting what they're using and what they're being taught.
As a Palestinian, this question makes me want to talk about Palestine. And to be honest with you, people who are facing these challenges, they hope that the international world and will understand that they need to get their own rights, their own lands. They need to get their rights, equality in their own lands. And that's, as Palestinians, this is something that we struggle from. We've been demanding. I'm here to participate in this conference to advocate for our human rights as equality and justice for Palestinians. And this is what I hope that we will be able to achieve through such conferences and meetings around the world throughout the whole, with all people that are facing the same struggles.
I think that some of the biggest challenges that the indigenous communities face today is poor health, is lack to education, and also the factor that they live in distant and remote places. In order to solve all these issues, I think it should come to a state level, and the state officials should somehow just accept some laws that can bring these people into the community and make them feel a part of the country and not feel left out. So one of the solutions can be this, in my opinion.
This is the time for us to know that they are human beings also. Give them the rights. I mean, give them what they have. I mean, this is theirs. So please, just offer what they have. And you know that this is theirs. We will not stay in there. I mean, in the places that are not ours. Call them back. They're human beings. Yeah, that's what I think. This is really important. But it's like it's still related with the feelings, still related with the conscience. Please be a human being. Be the real human being. Give the things that are not yours. Give back to that people.
Much of the problem is related to the fact that we don't understand those communities and we don't connect to them and we don't talk to them. So we don't listen to their side of the story, only the side that portrays or we only know what's been written and what's been told to us, but we don't actually engage and communicate with them to know their interests. So I feel like that's like the biggest issue right now. So I feel like connecting to them and listening to what they say they need is the most important part. And we have a lot of indigenous communities in Brazil as well, and I feel like one of the biggest struggles is to listen to them.
In our country, one of the best things that we were able to achieve was forgiveness. So no matter what a person has done to you, you should be able to understand that certain circumstances drove them. Sometimes it's fear of a takeover by different people. Sometimes the fact that they think everything else belongs to them. Sometimes it's misinformation from different generations. So in all essence, everything when it happens, we should be able to forgive each other, learn from each other, and work together as Nelson Mandela taught us.
It's the governments that have to make the first step, that have to reach out and help these communities that are facing issues such as crime. There's a lot of youth unemployment, and generally speaking, they're third world communities in this country that need to be addressed on a systematic level, where governments can come in and provide education, healthcare, security, you name it, and so. I feel that Canada is a leader in the world when it comes to dealing with indigenous communities, and other countries could learn a thing or two.
Roughly how many kilometers is the Canada-U.S. border? 3,000, 6,000, or 9,000?
I say 6,000.
I'll say 6 as well.
9,000.
3,000.
3,000.
6,000.
Okay, 9,000.
6,000.
9.
6.
The answer? 9,000 kilometers.
Well done. Well done.
The Canada-U.S. border stretches 8,891 kilometers, or 5,525 miles. Terrorism has had a huge impact on the world since 9/11, and the delegates here at the One Young World Summit are tackling this issue by coming up with solutions to counter extremism around the world. We set out with this topic: what are your ideas to achieve a more peaceful world?
Peace is indeed very important. And it was once Mother Teresa said, peace starts with a smile. I wish that people in the world are more honest, are more fair, and are more caring. And if they display more of these capacities and more of these features, we will reach peace in the world. If there is no hatred, if there is no dwelling of the money as the utmost purpose for the states and for the people, I think that peace can be achieved in this world. It just takes some time and it takes some actions and will.
View each other, no matter how developed you are economically or in any field, you need to respect others, respect the national politic of each country.
I guess it would be understanding. You have to understand other people and accepting them as they are, without trying to change the way they think. Even if they oppose you in opinion, you just have to find middle grounds and find the gray area between the black and the white. Find the common base for understanding.
I think the most important thing for me in terms of achieving a peaceful world is righting an imbalance that we're seeing in our global society, and I think that starts with empowering young people.
And when young people are empowered, what can they do?
I think young people are often the source of innovation, particularly in terms of thinking how to develop new models outside of traditional structures such as business or government even, and they're often the ones to come up with the ideas. So there's a lot of really cool proof points of that at One Young World, from human rights activists like Lina Khalife to people working in social enterprise.
It's mostly understanding. Like, people need to be more educated in terms of religious, because in Iraq we have like many types of religious groups and things like that. So we need people to understand that we believe in one God, so there's no difference. As long as we believe in one God, then the rest is okay.
That's a pretty big question to answer, but I guess the first step would be education. We have people who are it's in a dearth of education all around the world. People of color, young people of color, are especially suffering in this epidemic, and it just leads to so many more issues. When you have lack of education, you're more likely to be radicalized, criminalized, addicted to drugs, pregnant young, or afflicted by violence. So I just think that education and getting every young person access to good schooling and a full stomach of food is probably the best way to create a peaceful world.
To achieve a more peaceful world, I believe we need to work from the grassroots level as well as having success within our leadership. I think if we work from both those spaces, we can meet in the middle and provide a lot of fairness, both that come from a very executive and governmental side, but also that comes from engaging each and every person in the welfare of their community. We can see a lot more peace if people feel that they're implicated in making change for themselves.
I feel like it can be done. So if we find like a middleman and we're able to say, okay, we can do this for you, we can do this for us, and have that equal trade and have that balance, then we'll have peace instead of one person thinking they're high and mighty and everyone else is being inferior.
An open dialogue, an honest dialogue is key. Listening to the concerns of the youth, because they're the next generation that's coming up right now, and to better their world, because they'll be the ones leading it. To make it more fair is, I think, again, I'm going to repeat myself, but I think education is key to improving the mindset of maybe more radical communities, or to decrease radicalism.
You know what? Peace is a fleeting concept, and to be perfectly honest with you, I think it has to be about inclusion. In a world where we're constantly being bombarded with negative images, we have to be very cognizant of including people into those conversations, but more importantly, valuing diversity. So that's really what it's all about. If you want to achieve peace, you have to start building diversity into policies.
Let me share with you the scope of this gathering. No youth-led movement outside of the Olympic Games attracts more nationalities than the One Young World Summit, and the summit continues to grow. So we talked to some of the many young delegates from around the world about why they came and what they hope to achieve. Our question: why is an event like One Young World so important to today's youth?
Such events as One Young World gives us an opportunity to raise our voice and to speak out. And when we speak out and when we express our ideas and our thoughts, they can really be taken into account and implemented. And this is an amazing opportunity. I'm really very grateful to the organizers for this chance to gather this youth all together and have us speak out, because we have a say. And if we are heard, it will be really very good for the world and for the future. We are able to change this world for the better. And if we show commitment, if we show will, and if we do actions, it will be achieved.
You thought before coming here that you've done great things, but you're meeting guys who like people have done greater than you think you did. So like, wow, I thought I've done greater things. No, I'm just halfway. Let me go back home and start gearing on, continue and do greater things for the best, for the profit of my country and the world at large.
So it's good inspiration for you?
Yeah, it's a really ground for inspiration.
It's really important because it gives you the opportunity to meet all the people from different places. Some countries I honestly do not know the name of, which is sad, but it's very, it's an exciting experience. And you get to see the leaders of the world and the young leaders, hopefully, that someday we will be.
It's really important because One Young World, it helps to champion youth leadership. Ultimately, there's not actually that many organizations that do that very well. And because we have this combination of senior leaders that we would call counselors joining us on stage to help essentially say, hey, listen, this young person's really got something to offer, you should listen to them. It's unique platform, in my opinion.
It's important to be at something like One Young World in order to connect young people authentically through their shared passions for working together, through their shared passions for these issues that sometimes seem too big to tackle, to realize that in this small town in rural Ontario and in a big city like Paris or Tokyo, we're working on the same issues, we have the same challenges, but we look at it from different perspectives. So if we can connect youth through inspiration, through action, and through these topics, I think we can create greater change both from big venues like this and in their communities.
Well, an event like One Young World is very, very important because it brings people from all around the world, regardless of their background and their education and what they are in their careers, and it brings it together in a forum that enables them to bring out their ideas and their concerns across, and also it's in a very kind of peaceful and neutral setting.
I've never seen this many people in one place committed to changing the world for the better. There can't be, you can't overstate how important that is.
One Young World, it's a great event. If you've never got a chance to travel, this gives you that opportunity. It gives you this opportunity to meet people that you are not used to seeing on a regular basis. You know, it builds your network, and it allows you to build a long-lasting network that's going to last, so you can do whatever you need to do in your own respective countries.
I'm very honored to be in the One Young World Summit of 2016, and I believe it's a very big opportunity for youth to explore new opportunities, and as well as seeing very famous and well-known people such as Kofi Annan and Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada. It's a very honor to us, and for example, for me, I got to meet many people like from different countries that I've never heard of, I've never seen, and it's very awesome to be here and to be part of this One Young World Summit of 2016.
Which world-famous landmark was almost temporarily relocated to Canada? Eiffel Tower, Leaning Tower of Pisa, Statue of Liberty.
Leaning Tower of Pisa.
I'm going to go with the Eiffel.
Eiffel Tower?
Yeah. Leaning Tower.
I will say the Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower? Statue of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty?
Leaning Tower of Pisa. The Statue of Liberty.
Eiffel Tower.
The answer? Eiffel Tower.
Yes!
Well done. Spain.
Spain wins.
Yeah, Spain always wins.
It's a Spain-Germany high five. The Eiffel Tower was almost moved to Montreal in the 1960s. It was going to be transferred to Canada for Expo 67, but the company that managed the tower vetoed the decision. That's all for this episode of Outburst. Like what you see? Well, you can watch more full episodes on our website, www.cpac.ca, on our CPAC TV To Go app, or on our YouTube channel. You can also join the conversation via social media on Twitter and Instagram at CPAC_TV. I'm Glenn McGuinness, and on behalf of all my colleagues at the Cable Public Affairs channel, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.